Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
A stolen car slamming into a northeast side man's fence in broad daylight.
The homeowner says this surveillance video shows the moments right after that crash. Daniela Ibarra tells us why a neighbor is upset about the people who were inside that car.
Matthew Jones and his brother-in-law spent the morning grinding.
I don't know if it's all going to be done today, but we're hoping so.
Hours of work will have to be done to fix major damage done to Jones's dad's fence in just seconds.
They came in hard.
San Antonio police say that car was speeding down this road when it lost control, slamming into a neighbor's truck that was parked right here and ending up in that yard.
It was pretty crazy.
SAPD says the crashed car was stolen from Selma. Ring video shows people running away from the home right after. Paul Lively says he saw it all himself.
They look like teenagers?
Yeah, late teens, maybe high schoolers. It frustrates the tar out of me.
He says the accident caused damage to the front of his truck.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Lively and Jones's dad are waiting for insurance to kick in.
It could have been worse. I mean, it could have been, somebody could have gotten hurt.
Daniela Ibarra, KSAT 12 News.
Now, San Antonio police say they don't know who the driver or the passengers are. They say the owner of that car was notified that it was found.
The city of San Antonio is aiming for what could be the biggest ever boost to its police department's ranks. But City Hall reporter Garrett Berger tells us council members have a different form of policing on their minds.
He joins us live outside of City Hall, where they just talked about the police budget proposal. And Garrett, how many police officers are we talking about here?
Well, Myra, the biggest portion of that is 100 officers meant for patrol. So they want to have their officers who are out in the units patrolling around the city, having more time to go to what they call proactive policing rather than just running from call to call. This boost is part of a multi-year effort, and there are also a couple other positions for trainers at the academy so they can get more new cops out and onto the beat. Now, that push to patrol is helping drive what would be the biggest year-over-year jump in the number of authorized spots for the department, and that at least on this side of the millennium, with 117 more positions proposed for this year over what was approved in the previous year's budget. Now, a handful of those position authorizations have already happened mid-year or are expected to coming up, including a popular increase to the city's interdisciplinary mental health response team known as SA Core. Numerous council members asked about the team, which includes a police officer, a firefighter, and a therapist. Now, 2 extra teams are expected to join the original pilot program members in January. Now, staff say that will be enough to cover all of the city, though not around the clock.
So the short answer is no. The teams that we're adding won't be sufficient to add all the mental health calls that we get. With that said, one of the things that we're doing is being more targeted on how we address mental health calls.
City staff say they are considering, though, recommending adding even more teams in the next budget cycle. And right now, even if there's not an SA Core team available, city staff say they do have other mental health units who are at least on call and available. Now, the city's staffing study that is relying on for patrol was unfinished at the time when the consultant they had hired actually passed away, but he left behind enough work that the department felt confident moving forward, trying to get more patrol officers out onto the street. Now they're performing another similar study focused on the investigative side of the department. We're expecting to see those results in the coming months. Live outside City Hall, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Garrett, thanks. Concerns about guns not only in schools, but on board school buses. That's after a gun was fired on board a Seguin ISD bus full of elementary school students yesterday. No one was hurt.
As Jonathan Cotto reports tonight, the incident raising a lot of concerns about the safety of students on board a bus and a bus driver's training to respond.
Matt Hardy is a former teacher who transitioned to law enforcement and is now the director of operations for NASRO, a nonprofit organization for school-based law enforcement officers.
We train law enforcement officers and school security officers to work in the school environment.
Hardy says they have worked on numerous ways to protect school campuses across the country, but says there are many areas that still need to be addressed.
It's a new thought keeping weapons off of school buses.
On Tuesday, a student fired off a handgun inside a school bus carrying 37 students in Seguin. School officials say fortunately the incident happened toward the front of the bus that allowed the bus driver to respond quickly. But Hardy says we can't just rely on luck.
That school bus driver reacted quickly, was able hopefully to safely secure that weapon. But safely securing that weapon is a part that needs training.
He says retrieving a gun safely is critical and says bus drivers, custodians, and cafeteria workers all should be trained.
And, how do we handle it? How are we keeping it safe? I'm trained as a law enforcement officer to know how to do that, but we have to make sure that all adults in the schools unfortunately are trained to do that.
He says the responsibility ultimately should start at home.
Parents in the homes safely securing weapons in the home is a responsibility that I'm not sure everybody takes seriously.
And although many districts have installed metal detectors and have clear backpack policies, he says they're not all foolproof.
Nowhere we go, there's a 100% guarantee of anything, but we need to take steps that make our community feel safe and make the students and staff feel safe inside the schools.
Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
A big arrest in Atascosa County. It's an update to a story we first brought you on Monday. A man accused of 2 murders in Jourdanton and Pleasanton has now been caught. Today, investigators released this shot from surveillance video showing a home on Elm Street in Jourdanton. Investigators say it shows the alleged shooter, 21-year-old Samuel Ponce, standing over 23-year-old Jorge Arosa right before that shooting. The second shooting was about 30 minutes later, less than 6 miles away on Mansfield Street in Pleasanton. 18-year-old Ross Cruz Jr. was found with multiple gunshot wounds. Police had Ponce as a person of interest.
Our officers were able to do a traffic stop on him, and he was arrested for drug charges and weapons charges that he had on him.
Ponce was taken to jail where he was charged with 2 counts of murder. Investigators believe the motive was drug-related, but they are still looking into that.
Back here in San Antonio, a rollover crash downtown leads to a man being arrested for DWI. That crash happened just before 3 this morning at St. Mary Street and Jones Avenue. San Antonio police say the man was speeding on Jones when he tried to turn and lost control. Officers say the man hit a parked car, causing him to roll over, hitting 3 other vehicles.
Unfortunate, but people need to learn, drink responsibly.
SAPD says the man was evaluated at the scene and arrested on suspicion of DWI. His name has not been released. No one was hurt. In court today, the punishment phase of the Kiet Nguyen murder trial continued. Nguyen pleaded guilty to fatally shooting his brother-in-law back in 2021 over a business dispute. As Erica Hernandez reports, today's testimony from Nguyen's sister, who is also the victim's wife, revealed a lot more about that dispute.
2 different sides of a family business agreement gone wrong played out in Kiet Nguyen's murder trial. Kiet pleaded guilty to the murder of his brother-in-law Ryan Bowe on Monday. In testimony today, Kiet's sister, who is also Ryan's wife, took the stand and talked more about the agreement she had with her brother.
I gave him an opportunity to work with me. So we both agree. We manage together, we do client together, become a partnership.
She goes on to say that while they were partners, Kiet was never an actual owner. That testimony was further questioned by the defense.
Clearly, because you never gave him anything in writing, but you told him we're going to be partners. Those are your words.
Yes, when he come up with the money, yes.
Stacy's credibility and story about their partnership was further challenged as Kiet was of the understanding that Ryan was never a part of the ownership.
You told Kiet it's going to be you and me in the business, correct?
And my husband.
The defense countered that statement with Kiet and Stacy's other brother, who they told about the business deal.
The conversations that you had, did the partnership that was discussed include Ryan as a partner or not? Exclude Ryan.
All of this led to the dispute over money put into the business that ultimately ended with Kiet fatally shooting Ryan Bowe. Testimony is expected to continue for 1 more day, with the jury deliberating punishment on Friday. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
Take a look at traffic out there right now. Let's go to the TransGuide camera here at I-10 and Frio. Traffic moving away from the camera, heading into downtown. Smooth going both directions, it looks like. You know, this time yesterday, the roads were slick out there with all of that rain we saw. Not the case today. Back to sunshine.
But for a change, San Antonio was not under a heat warning. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. It is nice to be under 100, Adam.
2 days in a row under 100 degrees. That's right. We started a new streak of sub 100 degree days. It's just going to last 2 days. That's it. Yesterday and today. I do want to point out on Authority Radar, we have some downpours out there west of San Antonio and down I-35 south of Cotulla, especially some lightning and thunder, a lot of lightning associated with this cell that's moving into Utopia. We're going to talk more about this, other rainfall opportunities, and how hot it's going to get when the triple digits return in a bit.
Okay, without that heat advisory today, like we've seen most of the summer, that was a good thing. But whenever they do have those heat advisories in effect, CPS Energy says its policy is to halt disconnects for late payments.
That's especially important for seniors who are on fixed incomes, having to pay high energy bills. Jesse Degollado says that many of them are doing what they can to try to reduce their usage, even if that means leaving their homes after they turn off their AC.
We've shown you how many seniors struggle to keep their homes cool. For some, it could be a matter of life and death. Thankfully, this woman now has an air conditioner that actually works.
But last year wasn't as hot like this year.
And thankfully for these women, they have an oasis, the District 5 Senior Center.
It's been a blessing, it really has.
A blessing for Alma McRae and the others who, like her, would much rather be here enjoying the company and the free air conditioning.
We wanted them to be able to come in for the activities, and now we're finding they're coming in because of the heat.
Maria Perez's last energy bill, she says, was $200 for using her only window unit.
Sometimes I do get assistance, but will it be enough?
I looked at the bill and I'm like, oh, please don't let it be over 100. And it wasn't, thank goodness.
San Antonio may have broken its streak of triple-digit temperatures for now, but it's still going to be hot.
Yet thanks to COVID relief funds, the city's 11 senior centers now have extended hours. Anyone 60 or older is welcome from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Friday. CPS Energy also has options for seniors, like taking longer to pay, a late fee waiver, and possibly a discount. For information, call CPS Energy or go to its website, cpsenergy.com/assistance.
Maybe I'll apply for it. I'll have to try it.
Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
An area sheriff's office investigates 2 sergeants for not disclosing sexual relationships with subordinate deputies, but only one of them gets fired. Last month, KSAT Investigates revealed that Comal County Sheriff's Sergeant Kelly Metz, pictured here in an unrelated sheriff's event, was terminated after her relationship came to light. Sergeant Brett Smith, meanwhile, was demoted but allowed to keep his job after Internal Affairs learned he had a sexual relationship with the deputy who he supervised at the courthouse. While Smith and the woman didn't engage in sexual misconduct while on duty, a half dozen deputies told investigators the pair did not hide that they were in a relationship.
He reaches over and he caresses gets his hands in her hair.
Coming up in just a few minutes, an employment attorney points out how the 2 cases are different and why Metz likely doesn't have a strong claim for a wrongful termination should she take her employer to court.
Still ahead here on the news at 6, the San Antonio River Authority is hoping to educate people about one of its restoration projects, why they say this project is different from the others. Next. Welcome back. I'm Stefania Jimenez, and here's what we're working on for you tonight on the Nightbeat. Water leak marks, strange smells, bugs. Those are just a few of the problems that UTSA students say they found in their off-campus housing this semester. So what happens from here? Plus, water safety is something that many of us are thinking about. At least 3 local people have drowned over the last month. And tonight, a local group is urging everyone to learn a life-saving skill. We'll see you for these stories and so much more tonight on the Nightbeat.
We'll see you then. The San Antonio River Authority is inviting the community to learn more about the Mission Reach Ecosystem Restoration and Recreation Project. The San Antonio River now has a thriving ecosystem because of the project. Over 8 miles of it is transformed with walking trails, shaded areas to give visitors a place to enjoy nature. It didn't always look like this, though. It used to belong to the military and served a much different purpose.
10 years ago, this was a flood control channel that was overseen by the Army Corps of Engineers. It was maintained very differently than it is today.
The River Authority hosting an open house tonight at Stinson Municipal Airport until 7:30, where they will talk about the future of the Mission Reach area. What a transformation over the last few years.
I know, yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
It really is. And you know, I know that the River Authority's complained about this before in the past, but I noticed yesterday with all that rain, so much trash.
Yes.
You know, it was so nice to see the rain, but then gosh, on my drive home, I looked at all that water and all the junk.
Do better.
Yeah, that came with it.
You know, it's funny. I thought of that on my drive home as well as I saw some drainage grates. I was like, oh, those are getting a little clogged up, as is what happens after we haven't had rain for a while. Then we get a big downpour. But all that litter and trash, it ends up somewhere, and a lot of it ends up in our river, especially in that reach on the south side that we have there, the Mission Reach, unfortunately. So that's what we have to deal with. Here's a look at our weather headlines. Stray showers through 10 o'clock, then a few more rain chances ahead, and it's back to triple digits starting tomorrow. Today, our high temperature was 98 degrees. Let's get right to our weather headline, or I should say our rain chances. And notice tomorrow, sunny and dry, but then by Friday, we're at 20%. This weekend, a 10% chance. I see slightly higher odds Monday, Tuesday time frame, and it's probably going to end up being Monday or Tuesday. But right now, a weak cold front could drop in either day, and that's why we've got that 30% chance for both. But this is probably going to just combine into one day at 30% once we get more information and that front actually develops and gets pushing southward down the plains. A weak cold front. Authority radar has some shower activity. I mentioned this one earlier. A heavy downpour with actually a decent amount of lightning and thunder associated with this. It is showing some signs of weakening, but this is headed through Utopia, clipping Vanderpool, approaching Lakey at this time. In Lakey, it looks like this edge of that storm should hit you by 6:38 p.m. as it's on the track northwestward at 25 miles per hour. Rainfall rates within this have been up to 5 inches an hour in the heaviest part, and that's the leading edge. Now, obviously, it's not going to rain for an hour. Also, it is weakening a little bit, but a quick half inch, not out of the question if you can get a couple of those downpours within here, some of the heaviest rain moving through Lakey. There's that potential. Elsewhere, just south of Cotulla, little thunderstorm, one single cell there, some scattered throughout Maverick County, and just west of I-35, just clipped more. This is south of Divine, and now this is moving through Freotown and headed toward southwestern Medina County and southeastern Uvalde County. This activity should be coming to an end by 10 o'clock. After the sun sets, we'll be losing a lot of the energy for this. The rain, the remnants of Tropical Storm Harold, which we had yesterday, West Texas last night and today, New Mexico now, and even stretching into parts of Arizona. So bringing drought-stricken parts of Texas and the Four Corners states some much-needed moisture. That's because the Big Blue H, the upper level high, it's over Arkansas. You always have the clockwise circulation around the high, and that's steering Harold and its leftovers into the Four Corners now, but also heating it up in the central part of the U.S. I mean, check out temperatures. Omaha, Nebraska, 99. That's warmer than us. Chicago, 95. Minneapolis, 96 degrees. And very humid up there. Very humid. They're getting a taste of what we had in June. 96 right now here. Dew point is 68. So muggy. We can handle it, though. Southeasterly wind at 15 miles per hour. Uvalde at 79 with some recent rain. See some rain cooled air. Junction 78 degrees, but you go to New Braunfels, it's 100. Cotulla at 87. Stinson 99. And as we go through the evening, temperatures falling through the 90s locally. Again, that rain, those isolated showers end at 10 o'clock. Locally, I give us a 10% chance of seeing one pop up this evening before 10. 77 in the morning, 101 in the afternoon tomorrow. So it's back to triple digits for most of us. Not everybody. Sabinal 98, Uvalde 97, closer to the Rio Grande upper 90s. But looks like we're back to 103 Friday through the weekend. Back to what we're used to.
Thank you, Adam.
All right, DeMarvion Overshone has an injury, but his reaction and attitude about that injury makes all the difference.
I'll tell you what, we all can take a lesson seriously from DeMarvion Overshone. He's been thrown this huge curveball, torn ACL. He's out for the rest of the season, his rookie one at that, but yet his attitude is awesome. Plus, what does this entire Pac-12 mess mean for the Valero Alamo Bowl? Coming up.
Oh, I love Jeff Traylor. You got a 7th-year quarterback in Frank Harris, so absolutely they have a shot.
ESPN's Dusty Dvorak feels the UTSA Roadrunners have a chance to win the American Athletic Conference title in big board sports.
Football coverage brought to you by Davis Law Firm.
For the first time since learning he's out for the upcoming NFL season with a torn ACL, Dallas Cowboys rookie linebacker DeMarvion Overshone spoke with the media following practice. The Texas X has a great attitude and says he's not disappointed in all that. It's just a bump in the road, and he's ready to share his testimony when he comes back from this injury, he says. Overshone is already thinking about his comeback as he looks to build off his strong showing in Oxnard.
You know, training camp 1, I felt like it went good, you know. But like I say, I get to look at it as something that I get to build off of now. You know, having this time to, you know, take care of my body and get right and really learn the game. So I definitely felt like I went out there and done what I wanted to do. But it's still a lot more that I know that I'm capable of, and I can't wait to show you guys.
And we are ready to watch. Football fans, local business leaders, and Valero Alamo Bowl scholarship winners got together at the Alamo Dome this morning for the PNC Pigskin Preview. The Valero Alamo Bowl awarded $500,000 to university scholarship winners. ESPN college football analyst and former University of Oklahoma defensive lineman Dusty Dvorak was a headliner, and he was asked if UTSA has a chance to win the AAC in their first year in the league.
But do I think that Jeff Traylor is going to come in and be a real player in this league? Absolutely, 100% I do. He's done a phenomenal job. This program continues to grow, and I don't think he's looking to take any kind of steps back this year.
There's been a lot of conference changes in college football that would directly affect the Valero Alamo Bowl. RJ Marquez caught up with Alamo Bowl president and CEO Derek Fox to discuss the future of the bowl game here in San Antonio.
Well, it's been an offseason of change for college football, but we know that this year the Valero Alamo Bowl will stay the same, picking some of the best from the Pac-12 and Big 12. So the big changes here, Texas, Oklahoma, obviously leaving next year. We spoke to Derek Fox about this. Plus, he also mentioned some new conference affiliations, maybe even the SEC. Plus, they want to get into the mix when it comes to the college football playoff.
It is an ever-changing landscape. As you'll see right now, as we sit, there are 4 teams in the Pac-12 going forward. They can't have a conference with 4 teams. They'll expand, they'll go someplace else. We'll see what happens from that perspective. So a lot of moving parts. But again, the beauty of it is, you know, we got a lot of excitement going on from that perspective. This year, we got a great history and tradition of what's gone on with the Valero Alamo Bowl. And the people who support us every year have been fantastic. That allows us to currently be right at the top bowl outside the CFP. Really in 26 and beyond, we'll have a chance to potentially be a New Year's Six Bowl, if you will, or potential future national championship host sites. 2 conferences we've never officially been involved with, SEC, but obviously some members now that they're joining them will be affiliated with in the future. We'll see. And also the ACC. So the one conference that kind of started realignment a number of years ago hasn't expanded yet, but could. So we'll take a look and see. But I think when you look at it, at the matchups we've had, you look at, again, the destination city, the best title sponsor in the business, and not a bad recruiting footprint as well. It's a great situation to be in.
And this game still generates millions of dollars for the city of San Antonio, and Fox says that he does not see that changing anytime soon. Larry, back to you.
All right. Thank you, RJ. And that's sports.
We can handle the Final Four. We can handle that.
We sure can.
Thanks, Larry.
Still to come here, KSAT investigates a possible case of unbalanced discipline within the Comal County Sheriff's Office. 2 sergeants failed to disclose that they were romantically involved with subordinate deputies. So why was only one of them terminated? Next. Two sergeants from the Comal County Sheriff's Office disciplined for not disclosing sexual relationships with subordinate deputies.
One of them, a woman, was fired. The other, a man, allowed to stay and retire despite taking part in conduct that coworkers said wrecked morale at the courthouse complex.
You are her supervisor, direct supervisor, and she is your slick.
KSAT investigates. Dylan Collier examines whether it was unfair treatment, and a warning here. Some of the language may not be suitable for all viewers.
And it has not stopped since I started here. And there is absolutely no recourse. Excuse me.
Comal County Sheriff Sergeant Kelly Metz delivered those emotional remarks to Internal Affairs in January, 2 weeks before the agency fired her. Metz, shown in this Facebook picture from an unrelated sheriff's event, failed to disclose that she had twice been intimate with a subordinate deputy while off duty. A past relationship that surfaced only after a man walking near this restaurant threw a rock at a patrol vehicle windshield while hearing moaning sounds like sexual gratification coming from the area where Metz and another deputy were parked. Although the allegation of sex on duty was never proven, the damage was done. Metz was terminated for a list of rules violations, including employee fraternization. 5 years earlier, the same agency investigated similar allegations against Court Operations Sergeant Brett Smith. His sexual relationship with a subordinate deputy, Kathleen Reyna, led to a formal complaint, then accusations from a half-dozen deputies that he showed Reyna preferential treatment at work.
Is it fair to say that their relationship had a negative effect on the morale over here?
Oh yeah. I mean, we're still dealing with it.
So it was difficult to come to work because you didn't know what was going to happen that day.
While all of the proven incidents involving Sergeant Metz took place while she was off duty, audio obtained by KSAT proves that Sergeant Smith's affection for his fellow deputy spilled into his work hours.
He's held my hand before, touched my arm, and he has kissed me on the cheek.
While Metz was unceremoniously shown the door, Smith, who admitted to the sexual relationship and acknowledged his conduct was wrong, was not. Records obtained by KSAT show he kept his job after being demoted to the rank of deputy, was ordered to take a sexual harassment course, and was moved from the court to patrol. After Smith informed the agency he intended to retire in the spring of 2021, Sheriff Mark Reynolds thanked him for his years of service.
The stressors brought on by
Reynolds declined a request from KSAT to be interviewed about different discipline being levied for similar rules violations.
A whole bunch of raunchy behavior going on between employees.
And Lucy Chikura is a Houston-based employment attorney who weighed in on these two Comal County cases. She does not represent Smith, Metz, or anyone involved in the employment decisions.
I actually found credence to her claim that she did not think that she needed to report it because it was two isolated incidents not leading to a romantic relationship.
But is it a case of disparate treatment? A claim that agencies discipline some officers more harshly than others for breaking the same rules. The argument has been utilized by attorneys over and over to get the punishments of San Antonio police officers reduced. Chiquara says Metz hurt any possible claims of this nature by being untruthful when asked by Internal Affairs if she had discussed the investigation.
That is where I think this case turns. I think that, the employer will hang their hat on the fact that she was untruthful.
For KSAT Investigates, I'm Dylan Collier.
Smith and Metz have not responded to requests for comment about their respective discipline cases. KSAT could find no record that Metz has filed an employment claim in state or federal court. We'll be right back.